Hello, guys. How you all doing? How you doing, Tommy?
Very good, my friend. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. After your Ashes night. Uh, and I guess you could be watching the England game, but glad that you joined me today.
Ash's
Uh,
night for you. Ash's night for you is the time difference. Ash's day for me. Is there echo? Is that your echo or mine? I think it's.
is there an echo on my end? Is it?
I can hear myself.
Let me try. Edit mic settings. Echo cancellation is on. Edit mic settings. Uh, Maybe I should wear headphones. Yeah, that would help.
Is it right now? Oh, it's fine now. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, it's fine now, is it? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's fine. Coolio.
okay. Yep. Uh, sorry. Yeah. So you just finished your Ashes, and I think now the England game is still going on. Glad that you came on.
Yeah,
Still at this time.
I just saw the Callum Wilson penalty, 4-0 away to Malta. Yeah, I mean, if you concede a goal in that game, then it's not good, is it? So yeah, we done the
Yep.
job. We done what was expected of us. Put it that way.
Yep. Exactly, mate. How have you been so far, Tommy? In terms of all the transfers and whatever that's going on. Any overall thoughts?
Well, we haven't signed anyone. We haven't sold anyone.
Exactly, we haven't signed anyone yet.
Nothing confirmed. We always leave things to the very, very last minute. Although I say that we started things early. We started things early last season, and then it just ended up with us not signing a player for the final 6 weeks of the window, other than Spencer, who never played a Premier League game. So yeah, I think it's either we're ultra proactive or not proactive at all. I think it could go back to leaving things late this window. We left the manager situation for 3 months in itself. So yeah, I think we're going to have to wait till later on in the window. It's essential. We're going to talk about, I'd imagine, essential we get centre back.
Yep. Okay. I think since people are there in the chats, it's such a coincidence. I put up this comment and then this guy also came up. Let's talk about this guy. Big up, guys, and Tommy. Højbjerg is a tree trunk far in the woods. UTMFC side note: what do you think of Johnny Minerals? I'll talk about Johnny Minerals later. Oh my goodness, this guy is obsessed with Johnny Minerals somehow.
Have you ever
I don't
seen
know why.
Johnny Minerals? Have you ever seen him live? Have you seen him on camera?
No, I've never seen him live. I've only seen his videos before.
He's a good guy, Minerals. Seems like a good guy.
Yeah, he seemed like a good guy. He's like Minerals. So if you've heard Minerals FC, the guy who comes on Stelzer, you've heard. Yeah, he's a lot like him. But anyways, yeah. Højbjerg. By the way, Tommy, do you think Højbjerg going to Bayern, that interest is a legit news? Apparently, some German media sources have confirmed that Thomas Tuchel is like a big fan of Højbjerg, and he would like to have Højbjerg suddenly coming in. Like, what do you think of this particular one? And I feel some Spurs fans, they kind of want him as a backup midfielder. But if Bayern is offering, like, let's say 40, 45 million, something like that, or 35 million even, what do you think of that?
If it's 30, 35 million, you'd bite their hands off. I mean, he used to play for Bayern Munich, didn't he? He went to Southampton from Bayern Munich. He was there as a youngster under Pep, I believe.
Yeah. So if you check my visual today, I put up a picture of Højbjerg from his Bayern days. Actually, he looks like a young boy. So he's probably. Is he returning to Bayern? Or is just like his first love and all that sort of situation?
If it's 30, 35 million, I will buy it. Yes, I'll take that 100%. With Postecoglou, we're playing 3 centre midfielders almost certainly. We don't know if he's going to actually adopt what he done at Celtic or if he's going to be able to adopt, given the squad that he's given. If he does, we are going to need a hell of a lot of centre midfielders. But to be quite honest, we've got quite a few centre midfielders. We've got a little bit of space to bring a couple in. And if you get 30, 35 million pounds, you reinvest that. I would definitely sell. I'd look at selling. If you've got a better option up your sleeve, I'd certainly look at selling for 30, 35 mil.
Depart me to Bayern for 30 million if possible. 40, please. I would thrive there. And also, we need to depart myself. Also, a revolution. Yeah, I mean, definitely.
downgrade to Declan Rice, isn't it? Because Bayern Munich were in for Declan Rice, I think. So it's a bit of a downgrade.
They were in for Declan Rice, but I think Bayern cannot spend that much because of I think the FFP regulations and all that as well.
All right.
And then the other news that just came out today is that Arsenal are looking at Declan Rice for 101 million bid. They have submitted a bid to sign Declan Rice at that sort of a price, which has kind of shocked me because apparently the demand for Declan Rice was around 120 million. Like City could have easily paid that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think the 35 mil was true. I think it's far too much money anyway. I mean, they're very stingy. Bayern Munich last year, they did not want to spend 30 million pounds on Mane, and Mane was, over the years been absolutely magnificent. So they're quite stingy. So even when they were linked with Harry Kane, I was like, Bayern Munich going to pay 100 million pounds because Levy's going to ask for 100 million pounds. I don't think they've got that sort of money, as you say, with financial fair play as well. That probably will come into things too.
Yeah, so definitely that would be like I think probably maybe why this transfer is coming up as well is because we are trying to free up some space. We also need money, given that we need to do quite a lot of business as well this summer. A lot of deadwood needs to go out, so maybe perhaps that's why. But let me go through some of the questions in the chat. Hi there, mate. Yeah, big up to you, Højbjerg. Spurs on sabbatical. Shutting big boy.
SOS, what's happening? SOS, how you doing?
SOS, Spurs on sabbatical. Actually, I've seen this guy before in some of the channels, but recently I think he changed his name from SOS to Spurs on sabbatical. I don't know. As an interesting fact, I'm an Indian Yid. Indian Yid. How can you be an Indian Yid? That's just
Yide. Indian Yide?
Yeah. What's
that?
that? Yeah, that's kind of weird. Big up, guys. I was wondering why the show was starting late, and now that I see your guest, I understand why. Yes, that's why the show is starting late. But I do late shows as well. I did one yesterday. Big lion mounts zebra and stars. Zebra looks across the way to see another zebra. It was his wife. Zebra turned to the lion and says, "That was my wife. Why make it look like your?" I didn't get that joke. I don't, Tommy. Do you get that?
I'm watching the game in the background. I see it. I saw that it was a long one, so I left it. But let's have a look.
Okay, even I don't get this one. I'll be honest. But yeah, the other one that I wanted to go on to you was that our negotiations with Barca definitely on Lenglet. Like yesterday, the news came out that we are releasing Lenglet, Danjuma, Romain Mundell, and a couple of other players as well, the youngsters. But now today the news came out that we are again looking at having Lenglet back for 5 million or 6 million or something like that. The news came out. I think Fabrizio Romano is the one who reported it, and he also reported that Barca are apparently interested in Giovanni Lo Celso. Like Xavi is a big fan of Giovanni Lo Celso. Does that make sense?
What, Lo Celso to Barca, Højbjerg to Bayern Munich. Yeah, I don't know who's doing their scouting. I don't know who's doing the scouting right now, but maybe they should look for a new job. But if they want them, they can most certainly take them. But yeah, Lenglet makes sense. I'll be surprised if we don't go back in for Lenglet.
Okay, SOS, that's just a long joke. I'll need to read it later because right now I'm trying to host a guest and I'm trying to get my thoughts right, and then I need to think about this for long joke. It just doesn't help. So yeah, we should not get Lenglet unless Dyer and Sanchez are going. Okay, apparently Sanchez is going. Like he today reported that Sanchez wants to go, and there was a news that 2 Premier League clubs were interested in him, but he wants a new challenge. He wants to go to a different league. Tommy, which league would actually have Sanchez? Apparently, maybe Sunday League at his level.
The thing with Sanchez is physically he's fantastic. But all the traits to be phenomenal. His speed is incredible. I remember seeing a statistic back in, I think it was 2018, where he was the second quickest in our team as a centre back. Second quickest, crazy. So he's got all the physical traits, but his concentration levels, his on the ball errors, tactical awareness has just got worse year upon year upon year. So it's difficult. It's difficult to see why another club would want to sign him. But apparently, Serie A clubs have always been looking at him. Both Milan clubs always been linked. The last couple of years,
Yeah.
constantly linked with Sanchez. Spain as well. He'd probably suit Spain. I could see him going Italy. I could see, probably might not be one of the Milan clubs, but I could see him possibly going to Inter Milan because I think they're going to be selling quite a few centre back. Chris Skriniar's gone to PSG. Bastone's got a lot of takers, a lot of people looking at Bastoni, so they'll need centre backs. Maybe they'll come in for Sanchez. Serie A makes a lot of sense, but it's good. It looks like he's on his way. It looks like we've seen his last game in a Spurs shirt now.
For Sanchez, I suppose.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Are you sure clubs interested in his chances of football clubs? I'm pretty sure they are football clubs. Maybe Sunday League clubs. Who knows? There were 2 Premier League clubs apparently, which some agents were, some news agents were trying to say, but I don't know which one are they. By the way,
I think there will be. I think if there were, there's lower league Premier League clubs to look at him because he was okay for the first couple of seasons. He must have had 70 caps for Colombia. So they'll look at that, and I can see lower Premier League clubs taking a risk. But I think Sanchez's career was done with the booze. When you heard the booze in that game, he came off the bench, didn't he? And he came off the bench. Can't remember what game it was. Got booed, and then he came off again. So I think that spelt the end of his Spurs career. There was no really coming back from that. But I think there's takers. I think we can get a little bit of money for him. We're talking £5 million, £10 million. It costs 45 million. So we're going to take a big hit, whatever happens.
Yeah, you know what's the nightmare for me? When I see Emerson and Sanchez both playing together, that's like the nightmare. When I see that lineup, I feel like we are gonna lose this game. That's the one. If he's still a Tottenham player on 1st September, then we should tear his contract. Why not? Why not? Like, I think he's worse. I like a lot of people sometimes try to argue with me on this, like, oh, he's better than Dyer still. I think he's worse. Tommy, what do you think?
I'm not getting into the Dyer debate.
We can go into Dyer debate.
I spent too much time. Dyer should be the first man out. We need Dyer as the first man out. He's acceptable as a centre midfielder. But as a centre back, he's acceptable as a middle centre back to a certain degree. But when you go to a back 4 now, Dyer and Romero next to each other would be an absolute nightmare. He's been there too long. So for me, Dyer should be the first one out in the club. And then, there are more. Ndombele. Like some of the lone players are coming back. I'll be moving out first. But Sanchez, if we want to recruit and if we want to completely change our back line, then we need to get rid of a lot of defenders. Dyer, Sanchez, Tanganga, they all need to go. Davis possibly. We need a big change up in defence more than anything.
I'm not the only one, by the way.
I still write Dyer. I may keep him as backup. Is this your alter ego? This is you typing as well, isn't it? You type in the background, Elias. I can hear you.
No, it's not me. It's probably some Højbjerg lover. Like, I don't read Højbjerg that much.
This is the problem. This is the problem, Højbjerg. You can't just keep Eric Dyer as a backup because he somehow creeps his way back into the team with new managers. A lot of players do it. They get a fresh start. Managers see him in training, not just Dyer. And they're like, oh, do you know what? There's something here with this player. I think he can go places. And then you just see a quarter of the way through the managerial spell, the managers lose faith in him because they're rubbish. And it's a vicious cycle. Get a new manager in, same thing, time and time again.
But what do you mean your club? You're an Arsenal fan. How do you know about Eric Dyer's passion?
Is Shahid an Arsenal fan?
Yes, Shahid is an Arsenal fan. He's from Pakistan as well.
Just try and look at his avatar.
I think, actually, which player is it? Is it Umar? What's that player name? Which is Shahid? Let us know which player is it? Is it Babar Azam? I don't know.
Oh, it's a cricketer.
Tommy might know.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, he's a cricketer. He's a Pakistani cricketer.
If you enjoy your cricket, then you're a friend of mine. Put it that way. Yes.
Yep.
Ashes.
It's Babar Azam. It's Babar Azam.
Oh, right, yeah. Insane player.
Yep. We don't need a statue. We already have one at CBI. Yes, pretty much, pretty accurate there. By the way, Okay, I'm gonna go now on to certain rumors that are already going about certain players. Uh, this one, the Madison and Harvey Barnes bid not yet submitted, but we are preparing a 80 million bid for that. Tommy, what are your thoughts on? Firstly, I think I'll go on James Madison. Today, as he was playing for England, actually, I feel that Kane and Madison, when they play for England, they have a good chemistry, like in terms of their passing and in terms of their understanding as well. They seem to be getting along pretty well. Like I was looking today particularly, like it looked like there was a bit of a connection between the two. And then, how do you rate James Madison as a central attacking midfielder? And then obviously he can also take free kicks, ambitious free kick taker. His goals are one of the best. What do you think?
Yeah, look, who doesn't like Madison? I mean, his figures are unbelievable over the last two seasons. Goal contributions, assists, goals. I think he had 20 this season with a relegated Leicester, and I think he only played 29 games as well. So he played just over. Just over 3/4 of the season. 20 goal contributions for a team struggling down there.
Exactly.
Just goes to show the class of the player. I think that most Spurs fans, we know we need a creative player. Madison ticks all the boxes, doesn't he? And the connection with Kane, good players can connect. It doesn't matter. It's good players can play with each other. So I have no doubt that Madison and Kane, whether it's for England or who knows, Spurs, will be very good together. But the problem with Postecoglou's system is we don't play with an out-and-out cam anyway. It's a flat three. So where's Madison going to fit in? You're going to have to fit Madison in.
Postecoglou doesn't play as a cam.
No,
he doesn't play a cam.
He plays with a flat three. So I don't know what... we had this debate on mine with SOS yesterday in terms of the Madison positioning. He doesn't play with an out-and-out cam, does he?
So in that case, you need slightly more like an eight, who is a bit more,
defensive,
creative,
who can come back and get his foot in a little bit. Doesn't have to come extra deep, but can come back when in the transition, the other teams in attack mode can squeeze back in. Madison's not that type of player.
Someone like this guy,
he'd be perfect. To a certain degree, he would be perfect, not necessarily going forward as much. He's a very, very good deep player. Ward-Prowse would be fantastic in the Conte system. He would have been perfect in the Conte system. He really would have.
How about in Ange's system?
It would work in Ange's system, but you'd probably still need another number 8 because Ward-Prowse is very good, but he still does a lot of his creating behind the halfway line or just in front of the halfway line, long range balls. So he would. Conte always. I don't want to keep going back to Conte, but I'm just saying specifically if you're talking about formations where a player would work, Ward-Prowse would work there. And do you know what he would? I think he would. He would be able to have more authority going forward with Spurs because we've got better defense, better team overall. So maybe he could free roam a little bit. James Ward-Prowse. He's certainly a shout for a signing.
Let me ask you a question. If you were to look at like let's say three midfielders in the Ant system, who would be like your ideal 3 that you would fit into that particular midfield?
So Spurs players already, or just 3 signings?
Possible transfers that can work out, like the realistic ones.
I'll give you my sort of dream Spurs centre midfield. In terms of what we've already got as well, because I've been looking at this a little bit myself. So at the moment, if everyone's fit and we play 3 centre midfielders, you're probably talking Bissouma, Højbjerg, Bentancur. So we take Højbjerg out. We keep Bentancur, let's say, right centre mid, where he can be slightly more attacking because we know he's got creation. Bissouma, centre mid, do all the donkey work, do more of the defensive side of things. Then you look at left centre mid, and this is where you could possibly put the Maddison in if he's got the discipline to come back. The Ward-Prowse is the more creative players. I would like Brozovic. Brozovic would be perfect. He's an outstanding long-range passer. He can move into the number 10 role. And we need experience. We need some experienced players. So he would be very good. Milinkovic-Savic would be ideal from Lazio. And he's waved. I watch a lot of Serie A, so he waved goodbye to the Lazio fans. He's been there 5, 6, 7 years. He would be perfect for that left centre mid spot.
Milinkovic,
He
Savic,
really
yeah.
would. So you could go into next season with Basuma or Højbjerg, centre mid, Skip or Bentancur, right centre, and then Milinkovic, Savic, left centre mid. He'd probably be my dream signing. And there is availability there. So who knows?
Your dream signing or your wet dream signing? Which one?
Not quite.
There are two levels.
Wet dream. Not quite wet dream. I think wet dream, we'd have to go Frankie de Jong. Wet dream is Frankie de Jong. I just love that player. Just watch that. I could just watch that player on an individual single cam mode forever. He's an incredibly technical player. Outstanding player.
Bissouma, Bentancur, new signing maybe. Yeah, by the way, we are linked with Amrabat again. Do you hear about that? The Sofian Amrabat.
Apparently I look like him. I went on We Are Tottenham TV a year and a half ago, and we were linked with him just before we signed Bentancur, and everyone was like, "Yeah, you sort of look like him, yeah." And everyone in the chat was like, "Yeah, you look like him." He was magnificent in the World Cup, wasn't he? Absolutely outstanding. I can't remember what.
Yeah, he was great.
What country was he playing
Morocco,
for?
Morocco.
That was it. Yeah, Morocco.
From
Ziyech,
Dietrich Skane's hometown.
Yeah, it was absolutely magnificent. One of the players of the tournament. If you need a ball-playing midfielder, then Amrabat's the man. Definitely, we've got quite a lot of those already, though. However, that's the issue. He is a terrific player. Apparently, he's going to Liverpool, but I don't know. We'll see.
Amrabat is going to Liverpool, is it?
Yeah, there are heavy rumours. I mean, Liverpool just need to... I think that what they're going to do this summer is destroy their centre midfield. Milner's gone. Wijnaldum went a couple of years ago. They never replaced him. I think Keita's going to go. So they're going to sign 3 or 4 centre midfielders. So this would make a lot of sense for them to go for Amrabat. They've already got McAllister in. That's what the good teams do. They're proactive. 4 or 5 days in the window, they've already got players moving on. They've already got players coming in like the McAllisters. It's just negotiating, penny pinching any way we can with the Raya transfer and Madison.
And let's go on to that. Like, okay, the David Raya transfer. I saw the news yesterday, and I think the news was that David Raya has already agreed the personal terms with Spurs. Already his backup has arrived at Brentford, and something like he really wants that Spurs move. However, he's asking a price tag like 40 million there. Do you think like Brentford is asking a little too much for David Raya? This is a question that I was asking some people yesterday. I was asking Eugene, but Eugene, as usual, he said that no, Levy always does this and does that, which is true. But don't you think that Brentford in this kind of situation when the player only has like 1 year left on his contract, and he has made up his mind already that he wants to move, like why can't they just give you like 35 million, 36 million, 34, something like that, or 30 even, when the player's already made his move? Why are they so insistent on that 40 million? It doesn't make sense to me. What do you think about that?
Well, of course, negotiations are part of the society, is part of football, of course, with the transfer window well and truly open. There has to be negotiations. But if a club want £40 million for their goalkeeper, which is pretty fair in the Premier League era, that's I would say that's fair, because Pickford went for £35 million 4 or 5 years ago. The crazy money. I mean, Richarlison cost £60 million. So a number one keeper, Brentford, that nearly got unlucky not to finish above us final day of the season. One of their best players. £40 million, not asking too much. I think he's worth about £30 million, 35 million pounds. But don't come in with a £20 million offer. That's ridiculous. That's just going to piss the club off. They're going to end negotiations. And if they do end negotiations and other teams come in for him, because apparently Inter Milan are looking at him, Man United are looking at him.
Exactly.
Now, you lose time. You lose time and you lose the player. It's as simple as that. Apparently, we've already agreed. You've seen the stories yourself, personal terms. It's not good if the bid's not accepted.
Yeah, that's a problem with us. But probably, I don't know, is he playing for Spain as well at the moment? He could be. Is he playing for Spain, David Raya?
I think the Bilbao keeper's number one, Simon. Simon. I think he's...
For the longest of time, David Raya used to be there. Let me check who played yesterday for Spain. It
I
was
think
it was
Simon.
that Simon. Yeah, but David Raya was one of the subs, so he's out on the international break as well. So perhaps
Yeah,
it
I
could
mean,
be the
yeah, it's
problem.
fantastic. The fact that he's in the Spain squad is fantastic in itself, isn't it? I mean, it shows that
Yep.
he's a good player.
Yep, but again, I was looking at his stats if a couple of days ago. His stats are brilliant. Like he's at the moment in certain aspects, he's kind of like better than Martinez, kind of better than De Gea, kind of better than even Allison in certain aspects of his game in terms of his distribution, in terms of his passes in the final third. Oh, great! Like I thought that this kind of player would be ideal one for us in terms of like a long ball that lands at Kane's feet, and then Kane plays a pass to Son, and a goal, like that sort of things. We hardly see that in Spurs with Hugo, but a player like David Raya would have worked out perfectly in that situation. Uh, but how would you do you think that in Premier League there are other better goalkeepers as well that we should be looking at maybe instead of David Raya? If David Raya doesn't work out.
There aren't too many. There aren't too many about, and the problem is it's very difficult to bring players to Spurs at the minute because we don't know what's happening with Harry Kane. We haven't got Europe.
Yep.
We've got a manager in that's he's not well known, is he? I mean, he's not the Jose or Conte that you say, okay, I want to work with that guy. The new players, potential signings go, this is the guy. I've seen his history. He's won trophies. This is the guy. He's won trophies in Scotland, but anybody, me and you can win trophies with Celtic and Scotland, Elias, if we were in charge. So it's not a big deal. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult to persuade players to come to Spurs. And then you look at the wage budget. The wages we offer are the worst in the league. One of the worst wage budgets in the league. So we really don't have much choice. But rather than Raya, I look at Jose Sarr. I've said it for a long time. Jose Sarr at Wolves is a serious goalkeeper. Serious goalkeeper.
I think the other day who was mentioning to me, yeah, Will Stewart was talking to me that Jose Sarr is like the better one that compared to David Raya actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen his show. He loves his stats, doesn't he, Will? I haven't seen him say that. He loves his stats. That's an understatement. But Jose Sarr is magnificent. 6'4". Wolves fans absolutely adore him, and they're so happy he's not linked with any other clubs. I don't know why. For me, he's top player.
Like with Wolves, I would love to see him. I think perhaps maybe if David Raya doesn't go to United, maybe or he comes to us, maybe then United might look at Jose Sarr. Like he's a class goalkeeper. And for those of you who play fantasy Premier League, I think you all know that goalkeepers, you need to look at the stats to put them in the fantasy team.
Yeah,
but
Sarr and Wolves were terrible last. I mean, Wolves' defense was terrible last season. They had so many injuries. I mean, we talk about injuries, don't like it as an excuse, but Wolves had silly amount of injuries, similar to Liverpool, especially in their back line. But Jose Sarr in his first season was incredible. You talk to the Wolves fans. I do a lot of neutral streams on a Wolves show, Sweet and Sour Soccer, and he's the player. He's like, we do not want to be losing him. It's him and Neves. They're going on about. That's how highly they rate him. Jose Sarr, he's an exceptional keeper. Don't get me wrong.
Tommy, Wolves keeper conceded 58 goals last season. 58 goals they conceded. What are you trying to do to us? I think their defense was not as great as the one previous season. Like their defense was really lacking. It's not so much on their goalkeeper, I feel. What do you think about that, Tommy?
Yeah, I mean, and someone's put Meslier in there. So if we're going to go by goals conceded, then Leeds' Meslier probably conceded about 80.
Exactly. and some another funny comment. How about Joey Hart reunion? Nose and I think somebody brought it up yesterday as well.
He looked like, yeah. I mean, Joe Hart's been with Celtic for the past 2 seasons, and Carter Vickers.
Yep.
They look like Beckenbauer and I don't know. Donnarumma, Joe Hart looks like Donnarumma in Celtic because it's such a poor standard of league. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we go in for Carter Vickers, the Celtics ex-Spurs who couldn't get a game for us in 5 years. I wouldn't be surprised if we went back in for him, to be honest. But what do you think about keeper, Elias? What do you think about the whole goalkeeper situation? Is Raya your man? You sound pretty convinced to me that Raya is your man.
Actually, Raya is my man. Like when I watched Raya first time was that I think some of you might remember that Liverpool game that they had when they came to Premier League. I think it was their first home game. and they were playing Liverpool, and they had a 2-2 draw against Liverpool in that game. And for a team that came to Premier League 74 years after they were last time in the Premier League, that was kind of impressive for me. The confidence that David Raya had, and the way he plays the long balls, and even his reflexes, he really impressed me. And I think he was even the man of the match for that game. And I was like, wow, that guy was brilliant. Like, I really loved that goalkeeper. Like, and I immediately put him in my FPL team as well. And David Raya is the default keeper in my FPL too. So I would love to have him at Spurs. Like, why not?
You might get a few assists. Is it assist a thing with keepers on there?
No, I don't think he has assisted that much.
No,
Sorry,
but is
you're
there
saying
on the fantasy team? Is there do you get anything for assists with keepers?
yes, you get slightly more points. Like I think you get 2 more points if a goalkeeper scores an assist.
Oh right, okay. But no, his
By the way, when
distribution
was
is fantastic? That's his best trait, isn't it? His distribution is
yeah.
fantastic.
He actually kind of reminds me of Paul Robinson a little bit. Paul Robinson in his prime days. That one. So yeah, let's see how it works out. I don't know if you're a Paul Robinson fan.
Oh, huge. I actually
you're a Paul
really
Robinson.
like the Leeds team from the 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s. He came through that academy, Paul Robinson.
Yep.
Fantastic. Look, they produced Harry Kewell, Mark Viduka, Rio Ferdinand was there at that time. So it was he came to Spurs from that situation at Leeds. And he was only 21, 22. I don't know what happened to him. His distribution was magnificent, Robinson. Not the greatest ever shot stopper, but it was right up there. In terms of the Premier League at the time, I think he was number one. In terms of just plain distribution, he was fantastic. I was a big fan of Robinson back in the day.
I think you and Raya would look great together. You're talking about me or Tommy? I don't know.
We both don't look like him. We both don't look like him, so we're safe.
Yep, we don't. Anyways, he's SOS is on fire today. Yes, SOS is on fire today. And big up Corey Boy. Sorry, what was that? Big up Corey Boy. Always fun to talk about keepers. Yeah, because you were a goalkeeper. What happened to Leeds with the academy? It was so good and they just fell to shit. Yeah, I don't know seriously.
They were spending more money than they had, weren't they? The end of the 90s, I think it was Paul Ridsdale, the Leeds owner, who was spending silly amounts. They were getting into Champions League semi-finals and all sorts. Late 90s, early 2000s, and then it fell apart. They got relegated, and they were in the Championship, and they went down to League One for the best part of 20 years. Leeds are a huge club. They're a huge club in this country. The 70s, they're winning league title after league title. They're a massive club, huge fan base. They're back down there again. Feel sorry for their fan base. They're one of the very, very best fan bases. And Shahid's right. You know, Robinson had some howlers, especially in his final season. He had some really bad games. Yeah.
By the way, I'm doing the show today Tommy style. Like he if you know Tommy, he actually engages a lot more with the chat, and I realized that today the chat is also very engaging. I got a few points that I wanted to talk about, but then the chat is also moving very well. By the way, Leeds Rodrigo has 3 million relegation release clause. Should we be linked with him as backup? What do you think about this, Tommy? I think he's not a bad midfielder either, and he is that kind of a Rodrigo, like the City type of Rodrigo. I think he can dominate the midfield quite well. What do you think?
He's no spring chicken, is he, Rodrigo? He's 30, 29, 30, 31.
Yeah.
He's got a 3 million relegation release clause. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Do you know what? To be fair, once upon a time, he was outstanding. I think he was playing for Valencia or something, and he was top quality. But yeah, he's definitely been satirical there, Højbjerg. We shouldn't be looking at him. I say that, but we've been looking at lead centre back. Go back to centre backs. Koch. We've been looking at him.
What's his name?
Apparently,
Koch.
Koch.
How you spell it?
Ex Freiburg, and yeah, I looked at him on my Thursday shows. I do a bit of transfer, and I look at a few players in depth, and he was one of them because he was linked quite highly. Him and Maguire, unfortunately. Him, Maguire, and Lenglet are the 3 centre backs I've seen us linked with by numerous papers, numerous sources.
The other one was Ibanez as well, the Roger Ibanez, that guy from Roma.
Oh right, yeah. that was only recently because they signed Ndika, didn't they, on a free roamer?
Yep.
So they've got a bit of space, so they want to move him out.
Yep. Oh, okay. True, Leeds are bigger than... No, they are not.
Koch.
Madrid are looking for Rodrigo. What about that young midfielder? Are you talking about Harrison? No, not Harrison. What's that? Leeds. Manor Solomon. Are you talking about Manor Solomon? But he's a winger, not a... He's a left winger. What's that? Andres Pereira. Is this Andres Pereira?
Pereira. I know Pereira. He's Paulinho. No, is it Paulinho?
No, Paulinho is Paulinho is another one.
Quality. Oh yeah, he's quality. He's absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, he's quite quality as well.
I don't look at stats. I'm not really a stat man, but as I was going through the season on Sky Sports, you see most tackles made, and he's like number one by a country mile. He gets a lot of bookings as well, but he is a top ball winner. We talk about ball winners. If you're going to get 30, if you can get 35 million for Højbjerg, as you said, Elias, at the start of the show from Bayern Munich, then you go out and you get someone like this, a real ball winner, or Amrabat. There are options, but as we know, we need a goalkeeper and we need a centre back first.
Yep. And what's he valued at, Tommy? Tommy would know.
Paulinho.
Thing.
Yeah. I don't know his actual value. I think he come from one of the Sporting Lisbon boys as well. Because he's 27, 28, it'd probably be worth about 30 million, I'd imagine. He only signed last season, didn't he? He'd be in around 30 million. Let me check.
Joe Paulinho. Yes, he only signed last year. Okay, his market value is 35 million.
All right,
according to Transfer Market.
I was in the right ballpark. Yeah, he's not exactly young, is he? Yeah, he's 27. So
27. Yep, he's not that young.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
He can play as a centre back and also a defensive mid. Reminds you of someone, Tommy?
He does. He does. I didn't know he played centre back, but you're right. I'm looking at his positions here. I wasn't aware he played centre back.
Yeah.
I didn't realise how tall he was. 190 meters. He's a big boy. So
he's a big guy. Yeah.
So I'm like 5'11". I'm 180.
And I'm 5'8".
6'2", 6'3". Even more comparison. Even stronger comparisons to Eric Dyer. Like seriously, It's crazy. He's a tall boy in defensive midfield, but he puts his foot in. He gets a lot of yellow cards, but he really does put his foot in.
Okay, let's look at some other players. Okay, we were at this particular one. I don't know where we moved. Harvey Barnes. I think, Tommy, we were having a discussion earlier on in the back room as well. Like, why are we looking at Harvey Barnes as a left winger? Especially if you're looking at James Maddison. James Maddison today for England, he plays as a left winger, by the way. For those of you who don't know, he was playing like as a left winger, and suddenly he will come in deep a little bit as well, like something like what Son does for us. Like if you're looking at James Maddison, why are we looking at Harvey Barnes? Does that surprise you as well? Do you think we should rather just focus on Maddison and not Barnes? What are your thoughts?
It's interesting you say, because I wasn't watching the England game, to be honest. Malta and North Macedonia. I'm all sported out because I watched the Ashes earlier, basically. But it's interesting you say Maddison on the left. I've seen him play a few times for Leicester on the left. He can play on the right, I'd imagine as well. His best position is Cam. So if you're looking at Barnes and Maddison's best positions, then you've got Maddison at Cam and Barnes on the left. So you could potentially sign both. But on the left-hand side is not what we need at all. That should not be a target, not one of our first targets anyway. We've got Son there. We've got Gil coming back. We've got Perisic for another year. And Perisic can't play left-back in a 4. He struggled defensively at left wing-back. So if he stays next season, Perisic, then he's gonna be on the left wing as well. Richarlison can play on the left wing, played there for Everton. The majority of his career he played left wing, Richarlison. So we definitely don't need a left winger. Barnes makes no sense whatsoever. Maddison does, because he could play on the left, he could play on the right. He could potentially play in a 3 with Postecoglou. I don't think he can. I think he lacks the discipline. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
The Barnes one doesn't make sense. Barnes doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Barnes one doesn't make sense. Like even given the fact that you mentioned Perisic, Perisic can play at left as well. You got Regulon coming back. You've got Udoji, who will be coming back as well. Not to say coming back, but coming. I'm pretty excited about the Udoji as well. I don't know about you. Do you? Okay, by the way, this is another thing as well. A lot of people say Udoji cannot play as a left back. He's more of a left wing back. What do you make of it? How is he defensively? Since you watch a bit of Syria.
Yeah, I mean, it's very. I wouldn't watch Udinese games in particular, but obviously knowing that he was coming back over the final few months, I was watching. I was watching more of their games specifically, and he's very poor defensively, and that's in the Serie A. But he is incredible going forward, like top quality going forward. We've probably got him at a snip for 10, 15 million pounds when we did for someone so young. He is so strong, getting balls into the box. So it's almost certain we're going to go to a back four with Ange. He's going to struggle. He's never played there. He's only been a professional footballer, like been playing professionally for 2 years. He's never played as a left back. Udinese played in the same system as Conte did. You could say the same with Porro at Sporting. He never played as a fullback, really. He's never really played as a fullback. So, and we've seen how bad he was at right wing back defensively. There's going to be a struggle for both to revert to a 4.
I mean, even if you have the other one, you have perhaps is Sessegnon, you have Regulon, you have okay, Regulon I think is kind of like the best among them in terms of his defense. The rest of them I don't rate them highly. Even Sessegnon, I'm not a fan of his defense as well.
Definitely.
By the way,
Sessegnon was signed as a left winger for 25 million pounds.
Yeah,
why we ever put him to left back? Oh, never ever know. He was outstanding for Fulham as a left winger. So yeah, I'm in agreement. He definitely can't play left back either. And we've got so many players coming back, as you said. Reggie's coming back.
Reggie's coming back. Yep.
We got a big squad, man. We've got to get rid of some of these players. That's one of the first things we should be looking at too. That should give us more money. We should be able to get 5 to 10 million pounds for some of these players. But we don't know with Levy, because a 5, 10 million pound player for us, if we say Sanchez is worth 5 or 10 million pounds, Levy doubles it and he's worth 20 million pounds. So we always end up keeping them.
This one, what do you think about this? I guess you know what I'm going to ask. Somebody I think brought up the other day, like, would Kyle Walker want to return to Spurs at this point? Because apparently City are not renewing his contract. And then also, but again, the other thing is Bayern are linked with him as well. They already have Cancelo and they are now linked with Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker reunion at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. How would that be like?
Oh, 100. I'd take him. He's still better than any of our right backs.
I'll take him. Yeah,
100%. Even at 33.
We have, after Kyle Walker, we have signed like how many players? We've signed Kieran Trippier, we have signed Kyle Walker-Peters, the other Kyle Walker, and then we signed Emerson Royale, we signed the other guy, Serge Aurier, was it Serge Aurier? And still...
What we've done at right back is just ridiculous.
Jet Spence. And it would be very funny, like if Kyle Walker were to return, and he's the only one who solved the Kyle Walker problem. You had so many players in the middle, and none of them could fit in the Kyle Walker role. Like, even for Porro, a lot of people say that, yes, he's kind of good, and he's like the solution. He will be the next Kyle Walker. I don't think he's defensively as good as Kyle Walker. Like, technically, he's kind of good as a right wing back. I don't think defensively he's as good. Like, Kyle Walker would be another one. How excited are you?
Controversial opinion. Whenever I talk about this on social media, whether it's on my channel, somebody else's channel, on your channel right now, I get a little, there's a little bit of, I get a little bit of stick for this. But Kyle Walker is one of 4 or 5 world-class players we've produced in the last 10, 15 years. Kyle Walker, as a right back, he is world-class. There was no one better in the Premier League. Between 2018, 2019, there just wasn't. So if Premier League's the best league in the world, and he's the best right back in the best league in the world, then he's going to have to be world class. He's one of the very, very best. Even now at 33 years old, I'd take him. I can't see him wanting to come. And again, Elias, everyone seems to be linked with Bayern Munich, but that does make a great deal of sense. They don't have much money, and Cancelo went back to Man City, hasn't he? They haven't triggered the £50 million optional fee. With him going back, that makes space for Kyle Walker to go. And I see him still going to a Champions League club. Maybe he's never been abroad, has he, Kyle Walker? So it'd make a lot of sense for him to ply his trade at one of the big Champions League clubs abroad. I'd love him.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
I would love him as well. Like, I mean, I'm a big Kyle Walker fan. Like the way he bodies Mbappe and all that. Like, just
We need
just love
experience.
that guy.
We need experience.
He's experienced. Yep.
How do you think of just getting a couple of 30-year-olds in, getting a couple of 31-year-olds?
I won't mind. I won't mind. Kyle Walker. Who else? There are so many 30-year-olds who can actually perform at that level still very well. I'm not against bringing the experienced players, but sometimes the problem with us is we bring in 30 years old like Perisic. I think it didn't work out with the pace of Premier League. I would rather see 30-year-olds who are prem proven with the prem experience rather than bringing any other 30-year-old from another league. That may not work out. Maybe, who knows, someone like what's that guy from PSG who's a centre back, the very aggressive one.
Ramos.
His name?
Mr.
Ramos. I wouldn't mind seeing him as Spurs even. Like he is still good. But the only thing about him is that yes, then you have Romero and Ramos who are both very good at getting picked up. That would be just
that would be nightmare.
That would be a nightmare.
Chelsea done it with Thiago Silva, didn't they? You look like his career was 35 when he left.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, he's going to come to the Premier League and do nothing. He's literally been the only good player defensively for the past 3 or 4 years. Still plays week in, week out. So, and the good thing about that is, I get what you said about getting older players that are Premier League proven. Certainly, because Perisic, you need a lot of pace, you need a lot of stamina to be able to get up and down the wide positions in the Premier League. So if you're 33 and you've never played in the Premier League, that's a big problem on the flanks. So you could do it at centre back. Centre back's fine. You don't need as much pace. It's more about positioning. Centre mid as well, if you're like a defensive minded. If you're 32, 33, I don't mind getting a couple of those players in. I really don't mind. In fact, I hope we would get 32, 33-year-olds that have won titles abroad, that have been in the Champions League regularly, to pass on their knowledge to some of the younger players. It's, you can get them for really cheap, but just pass that knowledge on. Even like a Milner. Brighton have signed Milner. Just you could have 6 centre midfielders, then you could just have Milner in there. Just teaching the players, how to win.
Exactly.
Play for Man City, Liverpool. Just give some of your knowledge off to the players. We're just dead set against it. We just signed young players for £35 million, hoping that we can get a sell-on value in 2 or 3 years' time.
I think Milner is still better than Højbjerg and Skip and all our midfielders, except Bentancur, I would say.
Klopp wanted to keep him. And they done some good business, Brighton. They got Welbeck, they got Lallana, and everyone turned their noses up at it. And now look what Brighton are doing. They're incredible. It's good to have 1 or 2 of those players.
Yeah, like even Aymeric Laporte, he's 29. I think he would offer a lot. What do you make of that? Like, do you think that's doable for us?
He would be fantastic. He would be absolutely fantastic. He's number 1 for me. He ticks all the boxes.
In terms of centre back.
Everything we've just talked about, he ticks all the boxes. As you say, Premier League experience, title winning experience, just come off the treble. With Man
He's like
City.
29.
29, good age. Very, very good age.
Yeah, good age. Yep.
Very good
For a
age.
centre back, that's a great age. Like I was looking at it, let's just say you sign Kyle Walker either on a small fee or something like that. Then you have Aymeric Laporte. You have Romero there, or let's just say you bring in 1 more centre back. I think your defense is kind of sorted out in a way. Like,
Yeah, I mean, obviously the goalkeeper is a big part of the defense, so we don't know what's happening.
yeah, David Raya, by the way, sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah, if
David
you put
Raya or
Raya in,
Jose Sa.
well, no, that would be good. That would be looking good. So if you sign Raya, Laporte, Walker, and then I don't know, like a Guahi or a Kilman as another centre back, it would look solid. I don't think we're getting a right back, whatever happens. So I think we're going to go with Porro and Royal. For some reason, people love Royal. I don't know why, but they do, and I think we'll see that will undo itself this season, because he had a couple of good games this season. Everyone's going mad about Royal. That will undo itself, and everybody will be they'll be as Royal out as they are Dyer out this summer. I guarantee that.
I've always been Royal out, by the way, if you know me. I've always been Royal out.
Absolutely useless.
That guy offers nothing. Like
He's
seriously,
left-footed as well, Laporte. He just ticks all the boxes. He's perfect. He's a perfect player.
he's a perfect player. Like Romero, Laporte, and let's say you have Kyle Walker on the other side. On the other hand, maybe you put Reguilon. I think it would be great.
If you could teach Porro to defend, if you could get Porro to defend as well as he attacks, you've got a serious player there. I would definitely, I'd be playing Porro and trying to get him, trying to work on his defensive side of his game. Because attacking, he's brilliant. And you'd probably have to do the same with Adogi at left back. I think we will be doing that with Adogi at left back. It's going to be interesting to say the least. Whatever happens, we need a very good centre back next to Romero, someone that's willing to go deep. Because Romero ultra aggressive, Porro ultra aggressive, Adogi ultra aggressive, attacking. Even Raya is an aggressive keeper because he distributes the ball. He comes off his line. So that's a very aggressive back line. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this summer in terms of the defense.
Yeah, actually, I was having this discussion with somebody, and I realized that last season our main problem was actually our defense. If we just sort out our defense, I think we would not be far away from getting things sorted out. Even a midfield, it is somehow a bit of a problem, the creativity and all that sort of stuff. But I think if we sort out just our defense, it will make a massive difference in our league positions and in terms of our overall play. Like if you are defending well, you're frustrating the teams. I think it wouldn't be that much of a problem. And some of these centre backs that we are mentioning, like if you have Kyle Walker, he can create for you a bit as well. If you have Laporte, he can create a bit there. Romero plays long balls. David Raya, even he can play long balls from behind. And if your defense is like solid, that won't be a problem. And if you have Kane staying, for instance, which is going to be one of my last points now later on. The big point, Kane, do you see him staying this summer and then leave on a free, or do you think that maybe Levy would still work out something again, get him to sign another contract? That's a tough one.
Sort of the pendulum is constantly swinging with Harry Kane.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been consistent over the last 4 or 5 months. When we all knew his contract is up in 2024. I've been consistent on the side that I think he will go. Whether it's 60-40 he'll go, 70-30, 80-20, it seems to change from week to week, and how confident I am that he will be leaving Spurs. But now, not so much because of what's happening at the other clubs. Man United, Manchester United, obviously, they're looking apparently they're not willing to pay anywhere near the £100 million Levy wants. So that puts that deal on the back foot. Mbappe to Real Madrid, that would be his other main target. I think that's the only other club he'd go to. And they might wait for Mbappe next summer now because he's not going to renew his contract either. So the variables with Kane are basically what's happening with Man United and Real Madrid. I don't know why Man United wouldn't pay the £100 million, to be honest with you. He's worked with Eriksen. He knows Eriksen very well. He'd be behind him. They need a striker. It's well documented that Ronaldo was on about 600 grand a week. So yeah, they've took a lot of that money away. They've definitely got the millions to spend on a specific player. Maybe they're playing a little bit negotiating. They're playing a little bit hard to get in terms of what they're bidding. And good, because that's what Levy deserves. Levy deserves a club pissing him off for once because he's pissed enough clubs off. And that's what happens. This is one of the problems, Elias. You do this with clubs time and time again. You break bridges with clubs. Then you have to pay a higher fee in the future. And they don't want to do business with you. And that's where Man United are. I'd be very surprised if they're not looking at Kane as their number one target still. If Man United don't get him, though, I think he'll probably be a Spurs player. So I would say I'm 60-40 that he'll stay now, Harry Kane. I'm 60-40 he'll be a Spurs player.
I'm kind of 60-40 as well. And I don't know, today I was watching that England game as well. And then the commentators, they were looking at Kane and they were saying that, okay, well, where would Kane go? And somebody was saying that Real Madrid looks like a possibility and he should be going to Real Madrid. But we hardly see players going from Premier League to Real Madrid, especially the English players. Jude Bellingham is one of them, but definitely like Kane going to Real Madrid seems like a possibility. But I don't know. It could be a possible one, Tommy, for another reason as well. Like Mbappe has pissed Real Madrid a few times already in the past. Would Real Madrid try and attempt Mbappe again and get betrayed by him again? I don't know. Seriously, like PSG somehow always get that done. If let's say you were to choose, yeah, if you let's say you were to choose between Real Madrid and United, where do you think looks likely?
I'd go to Spain for the weather. I'd go there for the weather, and the fact that Real Madrid seem to win the Champions League every other season. Man United look like they're building towards winning something, but it still is just building.
I feel like even just blocking you for that comment, by the way, Shahid. just kidding.
That's a rumor. That's a myth. That's one of those myths that he's an Arsenal fan. Absolute rubbish. Arsenal boyhood club. I think he had a training session at Arsenal once or something silly like that. But yeah, I would probably go to Spain if I was honest, because Man United, the strength of the Premier League now. We know Man City and Liverpool are fantastic. Newcastle just getting better and better and better. Chelsea, it will go well for Chelsea. They're willing to spend 300 or 400 million every summer. You know it's going to turn for Chelsea. Arsenal is such a seriously difficult league. If Kane goes to Man United, there's no guarantee he's going to win anything, and they haven't won anything for a long time. Go Real Madrid, win some La Liga titles, because it's still a competitive league, La Liga. Barcelona won it by 10 points this season.
Exactly.
Atletico Madrid is still a very good team, so to win La Liga is still a big deal. Champions League, I'll be going there. If I had a choice, honestly, I'd probably go to Real Madrid.
Or what if suddenly PSG come for him? Mbappe goes somewhere else. PSG come for him.
I don't think he'd go there. I don't think he'd go PSG.
I don't think he'll go there either. Like
they don't have a rich tradition. They don't have a tradition of. They don't have a great tradition. Real Madrid are like the best club, the greatest club in history. Yep. Paris Saint-Germain only got. They only came along in 1970. They only produced in 1970, and they've only been big the last 10, 15 years since they've had that massive financial explosion. So, and it's Liga. It's, if PSG don't win the league title, the manager loses his job. That's how uncompetitive it is. So, yeah, I think Real Madrid, Man United, what do you think about this? He wants to win the Premier League all-time record goal scorer. Do you think that would be a determining point? I don't know how to see it. Do you think that would be a determining point?
I think it would be a determining point because over so many years he has worked towards that particular record, or it has been sort of like, you can say, a particular motivation he had in terms of where he's headed. And like at Spurs, you know that every year you kind of know that you are not winning the trophies, but at least the goals kind of motivate you. So when your motivation is kind of drawn towards something like that, you kind of build that relationship with that. Like, okay, I want to achieve that particular thing in my life. And maybe I think to a certain extent, it has become his bigger target, in my opinion. I think that's the target he would like to achieve alongside the trophies. So if, let's say, he were to end up at a club like Man United, City even, or Newcastle, I think he would prefer that move over any other move, like, let's say, starting all over a new record in La Liga or a new record in Syria. So in my opinion, I think it is still sort of like a factor that plays a big part in where could Kane go.
I think we'd hope so. I think Spurs fans hope so. I don't think it's as big a deal as we think. And he doesn't rely on pace, so he could go away for 3 or 4 years, come back to England with another club. He could play till 40 and still get the record. I think we hope that, and I hope that, because I want him to stay at Spurs, that he will stick around for this record goal scorer thing. That could mean that he'll go to Man United as well. But I suppose it gives us an edge if Real Madrid come in, if he's desperate to get the Premier League goal scoring record. I don't think he's desperate. I think the fact that he's won nothing here and he's getting closer to that Premier League record, I think that's certainly a thing. But he wants to win things now. He wants to win league titles. He wants to be a club in contention for the Champions League. I'm sure at this stage in his career.
Yep. By the way, I think this comment I want to bring up, our main problem last year was when Bentancur got injured and our midfield kept breaking down, adding unwanted pressure on already poor defense like in serious context. Yeah, I think that was one of the main problems. But I think midfield was not the major problem. Like, we could control things in the midfield, but again, your last step is still defense. That's why I think it really went bad. But Tommy, I want to. So this is now the last section that I reserved for you. Any particular players which we are not currently linked with, you would like to see at Spurs in terms of in terms of what you have been reading or what you have been researching at that I have
So
not mentioned?
realistic. If it was realistic, as I said, Jose Sa would be my goalkeeper. He's the one I'd be looking at. I mean, Valencia got a very good goalkeeper as well. Mavardashvili, impossible to pronounce. That would be a nightmare. I'm sure he's got some sort of like three-letter name. We can change that to. But he's getting a lot of plaudits, which means other clubs are looking at him. So you got to start in goal. You got to start at the back. So I would like Jose Sa, and nobody's talking about him. No one's talking about him potentially going to Spurs. So yeah, I've already thrown that out there. Kilman's been linked a little bit. If you don't get Laporte, another left-footed centre-back, big left-footed centre-back, and it would be great to get Laporte. But you've got to remember, Laporte's got to sign a contract to come to Spurs. There's not a lot we can offer him. As I said, wages.
Is Laporte on a free, by the way?
No, he's got a contract till 2025.
Oh, okay.
I looked at him the other day, so he's got 2 years. You'd have to spend 30-40 million pounds. Then other clubs will be looking at him. Apparently, Barcelona are looking at him as well, which makes a great deal of sense. So Laporte would be a long shot. And it's like Maddison. Laporte, Maddison, I don't think they will come to Spurs. I really don't. There'll be other clubs looking at him that can offer Europe, that are a more settled club. So you might have to look at Kilman, and I'd be up for Kilman, left-footed centre-back. It's just like the cheaper version of Laporte. More of a risk, but I'd like him. Alex Scott in centre midfield. A lot of people have been talking about Alex Scott.
Scott, he's a good player.
Yeah, I'm not really going to go a great deal about Alex Scott because everyone's talking about him. But Kessie, I would, because I talked about Kessie on my stream. Barcelona want to get rid of him. They need the money. I think we can get. We were linked highly with him last summer. I think we could get Kessie in the same way that we could get Jadon Sancho. They've not had good seasons. If the players are coming off very good seasons, it's going to be difficult. But because they've come off bad season, they just want first team football. You never know. You never know. And if you keep Harry Kane, that's a big selling point that people often forget. If you have Son and Kane, two world-class players, certainly one world-class player, that in itself will bring players. That's all we have. As I said, we have no Europe. We have no great manager. We're really struggling. We don't offer good wages. Kane and Son. That's why it's so key we keep Kane, not just for what he offers on the pitch, what he offers off the pitch.
As a PR, and players want to play alongside him with the partnership and all that.
He reminds me of Dembele as well, Moussa Dembele. Really.
He does remind me of him as well. Frank Kessie is one of that. And Frank Kessie alongside Bentancur and Bissouma, that would be another wet dream sort of a midfield, I would say.
Yes, you like your wet dreams.
Yes, I do.
You have many.
Yes, because I'm still going through puberty, so yeah, I do like
yeah, I can tell. Yeah, I can tell.
The other day, somebody was pointing out to me that it was Will Stewart again. He was sharing that interesting fact with me that puberty actually ends only at 25. It doesn't end at like some people think that it ends at like 18 or 19. It ends exactly at 25. That's the age where your puberty ends.
Wow. He's got his stats. He's got his stats on puberty. He's even got stats on puberty. Jesus Christ. Like
that man is crazy. Seriously. Yeah, by the way, guys. Yeah, sorry, Tommy, you're saying something?
I was just saying, I mean, if there's one more on the attacking front, let's just say a wide player. I'd probably look at Brennan Johnson. I think another club's had a bid rejected for the Nottingham Forest guy, who's absolutely sensational towards the end of last season, 21-22. That would count on if you didn't sign Kulu. If we didn't take the Kulu offer up, we would need a right winger because we sold Lucas as well. Well, Lucas has gone on a free, so we're short at right wing, and Brennan Johnson can play there. He would be terrific. But only if Kulusevski went. And as I said, the four players I mentioned haven't been linked to Spurs.
Yep.
But that's the thing. Me and you, we can make up our own transfer targets and
yes. Hope. Let's start one series where we just do like any transfer throughout, and then let's see what happens. I guess that gets a lot of views and stuff. Yeah, Laporte signs for Tottenham.
It's interesting. No, it's interesting to go into it. It's difficult because you can't, when you don't know a player and you haven't seen him play, you go to YouTube and you look at highlights, and the highlights are always the highlights of the player, the best bits of a player. It's very difficult, especially on the defensive front, to know how good a player is unless you watch him week in, week out. But it's good to do due diligence. And I'll tell you what, read reports. People don't do that enough. Read reports, consistent reports of how other scouts and how other people are saying they play. That's other than stats. That's what I tried to do. That's what I tried to do. And we tried to make, I done it last summer and the summer before when I started streaming, try and make some realistic signings, targets that could come to Spurs, but nothing ever really happens. You know, one or two.
Yeah, like Spurs, I mean, seriously, I think our scouting network needs to improve a little bit, and plus Levy needs to listen to the scouts as well. But Tommy, before I go, any last thoughts, anything you want to say towards the end?
No, that's it. It's been enjoyable. It's been very enjoyable. Elias, thanks for having me on, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. By the way, my friend, really, your ball knowledge is one of the best. I know you're not the stats type of person like this. So that's actually I love about my friends. Some of them they have a very good sensible ball knowledge, that they have an eye for players. Some of them they're very good with stats, and that just fills in my Step Up Spurs shows. Like I can do the shows that looks at different angles of things. Yeah, in terms of transfers and all that.
At all. But I prefer to use stats to validate what you see rather than the base being a stat and going from there. But stats are very, very, very important. And we've seen that at clubs like Brentford and Brighton. So I understand it.
Yep. So for me also it's kind of same. Like I look at the game, and then I also look at the stats, and then I form the conclusion based on the both of them, and that works for me very well. By the way, guys, there are 5 of you out here right now still. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like, and if you're watching me for the first time and you like to catch up on some of the future content, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. I don't know, suddenly somebody unsubscribed. It's probably one of those sneaky subscribers that just unsubscribe after every stream and will subscribe later again. They like to do that.
I haven't even liked. I've just liked. So, yes.
Yeah, tell me, when will be your next show, by the way?
My next show will probably be Tuesday night. Tuesday at some point. Tuesday and Thursday are the days I'm live streaming, usually solo at the moment. When the season gets closer, I'll start getting a few guests on. As me and you have discussed, Elias, we might be doing a little doing a little bit on my channel where we get a few new guests in, and Elias is going to be potentially one of the guests there. So as we get closer to the season, we'll get more guests on, and more things will be happening.
When are you doing the 5-hour celebration stream for your 2.5 subs, by the way?
Oh man, that would make sense. The next time you're on, let's do 5-hour stream. I want to give a lot of people a chance to come on streams that haven't been on, quite frankly. And I've had a lot of DMs over the time I've been streaming the last 2 years. A lot of recent DMs from Spurs fans all over the world. Be nice to get everyone's say, and you get all sorts of people, don't you? You'll get some really quiet ones. You'll get some very, very brash ones, and you don't know until you get them on. So that's what I'm going to be looking at in the next few weeks. And the 2 streams I do a week are solo streams, and I just, as you're doing now, I just look transfers. We go through transfers. So if you haven't subbed to me, please do sub, and whatever you do, sub to Step Up Spurs here on Step Up Spurs with Elias. Great show.
Yep, thanks, mate. Guys, the link is all in the chats on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. I don't know why today Twitter is not sending the links, but later on I'll send it there as well. I don't know why Twitter I can't send the link somehow. That's funny. But yeah, guys, that's all for today. I'll be live again tomorrow with another guest, and next week, by the way, guys, I'll be doing a few more shows. I'm trying to have a United fan and Real Madrid fan to discuss the whole Kane saga and the situation as well next week. Possibly I'm getting cast from Never a Foul, and I don't know if you know this guy. His name is Raul. He usually comes at DR Sports. They both agreed that yes, they will be doing a show with me, but not sure when. Probably next week sometime. But let's see how that one goes. And then I'll be with Tommy next Friday. Is it next Friday, Tommy? The show?
Yeah, not for certain, but we're going to try and do something on the Fridays to get new guests on. So yeah, possibly next Friday.
Yep. Great. Until then, stay strong, stay Spurs, and we'll see you next time. Come on, you Spurs.